Hey everyone, it's Adam here from Ads Productions, and this is the review of the D-Link Wi-Fi plugs and Wi-Fi camera. Let's start with the design overview. So when you first take these plugs out of the box, they are a very minimalistic design and a small set of instructions are included in the box. On first impression, they do seem to be slightly bulky. By that I mean it's not just like your traditional plug-in-the-wall tiny form factor. There's a bit of a size to it, but it's small enough form factor to not be noticeable when plugged in. The camera, on the other hand, is quite low profile, and the stand that comes with it is built in and is also very sturdy. It doesn't feel like it's just a flimsy addition to the camera lens. I don't see it breaking easily anytime soon. Of course, being a camera, you do have the option to mount it to a wall or whatever you choose to do with it. With the power plugs, you get a manual there as well as the devices themselves, and with the camera you get a set of screws, accessories such as wall mounting screws and things like that, a quick start guide and a power adapter. Okay, let's talk about how we set these up. First we'll start with the plugs. On your Android or iPhone, go to the App Store and download the My D-Link app. Just type My D-Link, all one word. This is going to give you your control panel for the smart devices that you're going to configure. That's the plug and the camera. When you open the app, you'll be asked to sign in or create an account. Make sure you create an account then sign in, that's pretty obvious. And when you get past that, you'll be asked to add a device. Take one of the plugs, plug it in the wall, switch it on. Wait for about 2 or 3 minutes for it to register the fact that it's in a state where it can be registered, i.e. brand new and out of the box. Wait for the red light to flash, that means, hey, I'm ready to go. Then on the app, go to Add Device, and then you'll be asked to scan the QR code associated with the device. You can see it on the device or with the paperwork included. Once you've done that, it will then ask you to connect to the network, and then once you've done that, you can press Next. That way it will bind the plug to your Wi-Fi connection and to the My D-Link app, so you can manage it. When you've got past the configuration process, it basically just links the two together. You can customize the plug's name, you can set a location for future reference, you can add device to shortcuts so it appears under the My D-Link app home screen so you don't have to go digging for it, as well as enabling or disabling the auto update features. Once you've configured the plug and you have it just how you like it, it will then bind all of these settings that you have, that you've just given the name, the Wi-Fi, whether or not you want to firmware update it, yada yada yada. It will bind it all to the device. This takes about, I saw it take about 30 to 40 seconds. Allowing the binding to finish, you then have a first device successfully enrolled within your My D-Link app. This is part one of the home setup solution that we're going to go for here. If you're prompted to do a firmware update like I was, you don't have to do this, but I would perhaps suggest doing this just to make sure that your devices are fully up to date and you're protected against the latest security vulnerabilities, especially when it comes to smart homes and turning on power in houses. It's probably pretty important. So we've got the plugs, now we need a camera. This is very much the same process. From the settings of the My D-Link app, go to Add Device, scan the QR code on the documentation or on the camera itself, join it to the network, choose your settings, bind the camera to the settings so that you can use it wherever you've got power. That's it. Alright, so now we have our smart plug, we have our camera. The camera is plugged into the power, it's connected to the Wi-Fi, it has the settings. The plug is connected to the wall when it's on, and it's connected to the Wi-Fi ready to be used. Let's talk a little bit more about the app design. The application used to manage and maintain your smart devices works extremely well and is very modern looking with colourful and clear icons that float in place. It just looks like a nice app to use. If configured correctly, you can just tap the plug device you just enrolled and then you'll hear a faint click sound from the plug and the plug will switch on. You basically have just configured a portable power button for that specific plug. Which means wherever you've got connection and you open up the My D-Link app, You can turn on or off a plug in your house. Just think of the possibilities of that one. Let's talk a bit more about the app specifically, and some of the features that it contains. The first feature is one tap. Let's say you want all of your living room lights to come on, the heater to start, and the kettle to begin boiling when you wake up and press one button. The one tap button allows you to do this with ease. Cloud recording. This is basically cloud storage for the app, so if you want to record certain things that the camera picks up directly to the internet, you can do this. Luckily they have a free plan, which I'll get onto later on. You've also got the ability to add automations so that if a certain event happens, a certain action happens. So for example, if camera detects movement, then do A, B or C. Then you've got schedule. If you want to turn all the lights off and the camera to switch to privacy mode at a particular time of day on a Tuesday from let's say 4 to 6 p.m, the schedule section is where you would do this. Now, as D-Link allows you to put your plugs essentially in the cloud, you can also link it to a service called If This Then That. What this is a connector for other cloud services. Let me give you an example. If you want your plug to be handled by Alexa, let's say you want to be able to say, turn the light off. If that light is linked to a plug in your D-Link app and your home network environment, and you also have Alexa, you can use If This Then That in the middle to create that bridge. So you can walk into the house and say, hey Alexa, turn the kitchen light on. And you can program the phrase so that when it detects that, If This Then That on your Alexa will then point it to your D-Link, which is also in If This Then That, and turn the plug on or off depending on your command. You can also do things like if the temperature falls below a certain value, turn the heater on in room 5 and play Spotify. Anything you want. This is really fun to play around with and you can sort of see where you would and wouldn't use it. For simple like light switches, music, coffee machines, it's really cool and really exciting to see where people are going to go with this, and using D-Link and other services you can really achieve some pretty awesome things. One thing to mention is that for the average Joe consumer, someone who's not really concerned about technology and tweaking things, If This Then That can be a little bit daunting because there's various different triggers and events that you can set up and you have to verify accounts, sign back in and connect A to B. For someone like myself who's familiar with technology a bit more, it's not so much of an issue, but for a new person coming into this world of technology and home automation, it can be a little bit daunting. So maybe before you look into these, look up if the If This Then That service is something you'll be considering using in the future. It's worth learning, but a little bit of a learning curve, that's all. One small complaint I do have with the app is sometimes you do get hit with a loading screen or a bubble or a box that comes up that says loading or connecting, almost making it easier just to walk over to that light and turn it off yourself instead of waiting 30 seconds for the phone to trigger it. That didn't happen too much, but it did, especially when I tabbed out of the app and went on a different app and came back to it. That reconnection phase was kind of slow, even with the latest app that I downloaded at the time. Also, going from feature to feature within the app sometimes had a little bit of slowness as well. Never really more than 20 to 30 seconds, but sometimes if you're near the light, it's easier just to walk up and turn it off, then press the app. I did find that from time to time, not all the time, just occasionally. Just something to be aware of. We've talked a bit about the smart plugs. I've talked a bit about the app. I've talked a bit about the If This Then That of connecting the cameras to the plugs, to the device, to the third-party services. Let's talk a bit more about the camera itself. The camera is a 1080p camera, and from my usage, I've used it for a fair few hours now. The quality is perfectly fine and totally up to par with the other cameras that are available on the market. If you've got a problem with storage or you don't want to pay for cloud storage, it does have the option of having a micro SD card in the side of it, which obviously, based on the size of 1080p, you can get several hours of video constantly being recorded and sent to the SD card for your review at a later date. There are built-in LEDs to make sure that you can see your video footage in the dark. It goes up to 5 meters, so if you want to check that it's not just a cat in the back garden, you can do that, but bear in mind 5 meters is the limit due to the LEDs. Because the camera's small in form factor, they've included a wide-angle lens, which means you can get around 137 degrees of total viewing angle. When you open the app and you see the preview of the camera and what it's been doing, give it a click and now you're in direct control of the camera. When you're in the camera's controls, you will notice you have the option to take a picture, record a video, which will obviously store in the cloud storage if you have it set up this way, or onto the onboard SD card, as in the one you've installed, not the one that comes with it, because one doesn't come with it. Anyway, you can also enable the audio to hear what's going on, and when you slide the dial around, you can choose between 720p and 1080p. This is to save storage space, and further along you can just keep adding footage to it and not worry so much about storage limitations if you have the quality set to slightly lower. I found that using 720p over 1080p didn't really make much of a difference in terms of viewing the footage back, but it saved space dramatically. Further along you also have a push to talk button, which basically sends voice command from your phone straight to the camera. Not sure how often you would actually use it, but it's there. And it seems to work pretty well as well. And then a little bit deeper into the settings, you've got the option to change the device name, the location, the Wi-Fi profile, the option to choose who gets alerted, their number, etc., disabling the microphone, how sensitive the camera is to movement, the night vision settings, the camera LED on or off, the enable or disable of privacy mode, and the camera's default storage, which then gives you the option to change the cloud storage plan that you have currently configured. That's a good segue. Time to talk about the cloud storage plans available. Okay, so you probably heard me talk about cloud storage and thought, what the hell is that? Well, I'll tell you. Basically, cloud storage is saving your footage to an internet-based storage platform compared to saving it to your device, which obviously uses up the space on your device. That probably wasn't the best explanation in the world, but I'm moving on swiftly. D-Link give you a range of different options on different price plans, on how much storage you can actually use in the cloud, and how far you can go back and review this footage on a rolling basis. There are a few recording plans, as I just mentioned. I'm going to go through them now to hopefully give you an idea of what you can do for each setting. So, first option is the free one. The first option for the cloud recording is free. It gives you 24 hours of video recording. It gives you up to 3 cameras of support. There's 0 monthly fee and 0 annual fee. The second one is basic. Basic gives you 7 days of recording, so you can go back the whole week and see what's going on, and it will just keep deleting the last week just to give you the latest week of footage. And that gives you the support again of up to 3 cameras. There is a monthly fee. This is $2.49 US, and the annual fee is $24.99 US. Next one up is the premium. This is 14 days, so 2 weeks of looking back through your footage. You've also got support of up to 5 cameras this time, and then you've got a price of $4.99 a month or $49.99 per year. And now the pro version is 30 days recording period of up to 10 cameras and $10 a month, well, $9.99 a month monthly fee, and then $99.99 every year. To be honest, if you've got 10 cameras set up and you're that serious about surveillance, $9.99 a month for 30 days of rolling recording off-site is a really decent deal, especially if you look around for the price of cloud storage based on, AWS, Amazon Web Services, or Microsoft Azure, or any other cloud platform, even Google Drive and things like that. It's a very competitive price and definitely worth considering. Personally, I have my own storage methods and the way I like to back up footage, so I tend to use it locally, but it's really nice to have the option of an off-site cloud backup. So I think that's enough of me talking for one video. Overall, this camera is very cost effective, lightweight, and does exactly what it says on the tin. Now, I'm not trying to sell you anything here. I'm just giving you my honest opinion on this camera. It was so easy to use. I just set up the 3 devices, the 2 plugs and the camera. I configured a bit of Internet of Things, smart home kind of technology with if this then that. I played around with Alexa. I recorded some video here and there, and everything came out looking fine. It did the job. I could open the app. I could preview previous day's video, I could go through and say, okay, what events triggered on my different devices. Yes, there was a bit of slowness from time to time on the app, but to be honest, when you log into a service, I would almost expect that going forward, just because it's got to constantly connect to devices, to the internet to check in, to make sure everything's running smoothly. And when it comes to dealing with power and devices switching on and off remotely, yeah, I'd kind of rather it take its time than do it in a rush, because if it goes wrong and you keep turning the stuff on in the middle of the night and things like that, it just gets a bit strange with managed devices and trusting that it's not going to switch on and off. I haven't had this experience yet, I must say. I'm strictly saying, for peace of mind's sake, I guess, more than anything, I haven't had any issues with this. It's been turning on and off when I wanted it to, the automation, the scheduled events, the one-click, the remote usage from wherever. I've been at work and turned the heater on from work and got home and my room's been warm. So, and in that half an hour commute, just before I got in the car, I pressed the button, got home to a warm room. It's things like that that makes your life that little bit easier. Just think about how you'd want this approach to be in your home. You might not need 3 different cameras. You might not need the cloud storage. The beauty of it is it gives you the flexibility to do almost anything you could want with cloud recording, Internet of Things, smart home kind of technology, and that's kind of the world we're going towards with tech. And the more cloud services that are out there, the more this will integrate. We're definitely living in the future now. The smart plugs are a piece of cake to use and really add to the autonomy of the house and the camera and just the whole experience. It's a cool addition to bring a whole host of new functionality to your home or even on top of an existing smart home. This has been Adam from Ads Productions with the review of the D-Link smart plugs and Wi-Fi camera. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment below and I'll do my best to get to them. Thanks for watching.